What's up, y'all? It's your girl, El Rochelle, the Hardwood Diva, and I'm coming to you this week, Thursday, September 18th, and we're in week 3 of the NFL. I know it's crazy. It's been a wild week for the NFL again. Right after filming last week's video, we find out Adrian Peterson is indicted on child abuse charges, and that makes everything very different for the Minnesota Vikings. Things kind of got wild and crazy. Lots of injuries over the weekend. That definitely screwed up my fantasy for a couple. So I still came out and won. Lost Jamal Charles. Lost a couple other people, but somehow still made it out. But it's been a wild ride for the NFL. So now on this new commissioner's exempt list, which we never knew existed, but we know exists now, Adrian Peterson, who has to stay away from the team. Greg Hardy with the Carolina Panthers has to stay away from his team because of his conviction for domestic abuse, even though he is fighting it and appealing and trying to get a jury trial as opposed to the judge's decision. But whatever. We're still waiting to see what the San Francisco 49ers will do when it comes to Ray McDonald. And then just yesterday, we got news that the Arizona Cardinals backup running back was charged with abuse against his wife and his 18-month-old child. So there's all that. But football, of course, must go on. Still haven't heard from Roger Goodell in over a week now, but, you know, whatever. We're going to move on with football. So first up tonight, Thursday, 5:30 on both CBS and the NFL Network, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Falcons. Sorry, brain freeze. It's birds. Whatever. I'm going with Atlanta. Atlanta has looked good so far. That really awesome win against the New Orleans Saints earlier in the season, the first week of the season. And right now they're 2-0. So I'm going with the Falcons. I think that they're going to do very well. They always do well in the regular season. They just can't see, almost like the Hawks as well. Oh, Atlanta teams. And just can't seem to do as well when it comes to the playoffs. So I'm going with the Falcons for this one. Sunday, the 10 a.m. games. First up, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Rams. I am going with Dallas. Dallas looked amazing last week after falling all over themselves to lose in the first week. They did an amazing job last week. Des Bryant was amazing. DeMarco Murray rushed for over 160 yards. That was awesome because I have them both. Yay, me and my fantasies league. So that's awesome. So I'm going with Dallas for this one. Tennessee versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati, they're doing really good right now. I'm going to go with them. San Diego versus Buffalo. Now this is really good. San Diego had an awesome win against the Seahawks last week. But Buffalo is 2-0 and looks very impressive while doing so. And so with San Diego having to travel across country, this is probably, I think, one of the longest flights, one of the longest travels for teams. So I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills on this one. Baltimore versus Cleveland. Baltimore actually looked good in their second game, even after losing. Knowing that they lost Ray Rice and everything that was going on, I wasn't sure how it was going to play out, but they did look good last week. Versus Cleveland, I'm just going to have to go with Baltimore. Washington versus Philadelphia Eagles. Deshaun is excited to come back. He did get hurt. Another one of the things that dinged me on my fantasy league. But I just can't see. Philadelphia doesn't start off very well, but they're coming back and beating teams at the end. They're 2-0 right now. So I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. I just think as a team, as a whole, they're much better. Russell. Okay, see y'all, I'm going to let you know something. I'm pregnant, so I have pregnancy brain right now. So things flip in my head when I know what I'm thinking. RG3, Robert Griffin III, is out for 8 weeks because he dislocated his ankle while running. He wasn't even contacted. Like, it's crazy. So, but Kirk Cousins came in last week and actually looked really good. So we'll see how he actually does when he starts. He seems to do well when he comes in and replaces RG3, like in the middle of a game, but he's not very well when he actually starts. So for this one, I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles, y'all. That's me. Houston versus the Giants. Houston. The Giants are literally the laughingstock of the NFC East, and that's kind of hard because the NFC East has Dallas and Washington and Philly, but somehow they're still the laughingstock. We're all looking down on you. Indianapolis versus Jacksonville. I'm going with Indianapolis. I like the Colts. I like Andrew Luck, so I'm going with them. Green Bay versus Detroit. Green Bay. This is probably one of the toughest ones for me because both of these teams look good. Green Bay always looks good offensively. Detroit always looks good offensively. And I'm actually liking more of what I'm seeing with Detroit's defense. But I'm still going to go with Green Bay because I just think their offense might overpower. So we'll see what happens. But this is definitely a toss-up game for me. So when I do my pick-em, I'm not even sure who I'm going to pick in this one. Oakland versus New England. Oh, them Raiders. Them Raiders. Even when they try, they fail. I'm going with New England. Oakland's about to be 0-3. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, hubby. He loves them. Minnesota versus New Orleans. Now, of course, this is going to be interesting. The Vikings, without Adrian Peterson, is definitely much different than the Baltimore Ravens without Ray Rice. So, I'm going to go with New Orleans. Even though they're 0-2 and they had a little riff between coaches on the sidelines last week, I think that they're going to get it. They're going to finally pull it together, and they're going to get a win. So I'm going with New Orleans. The 1 p.m. game, San Francisco versus Arizona. San Francisco, even though Arizona is 2-0, I don't know how much is going to affect them losing their backup running back, but I just don't think that they can beat San Francisco. San Francisco only lost because of Colin Kaepernick's epic failure last week. And a lot of that failure was actually not too much of a failure. It's just that one guy on Crabtree was just doing really, really good and anticipating a lot. So Colin Kaepernick is a gunslinger, though. He's like the Brett Favre type. He's going to get back up and keep trying. So I think that always ends up paying off in the end. So I'm going to go with San Francisco on this one. Kansas City versus Miami. Now, this is crazy to me because Kansas City was the last team last season to lose a game. Like, it took them, I think, they were 9-0, and then they went 9-1. They've already lost 2 games this season. So, and in Miami actually looks pretty good. I'm going to go with Miami on this one. Sorry, Casey. Denver versus Seattle. Now, as bad as Seattle looked last week against the Seahawks or the San Diego Chargers, and as good as Denver has looked so far, I'm still going with the Seahawks in Seattle. They're one of the toughest teams to beat at home. Still going to go with them. But if Denver wins, this definitely shows that they have improved, and I know they've improved on defense. They're much better on defense than they were last year, which is what their Achilles heel was last year. They could not defend to save anybody's life, and because of that, they knew exactly what they were doing on offense. It was ridiculous. So going with Seattle, but do not be surprised if Denver ekes this one out. 5:30, Pittsburgh versus Carolina. Pittsburgh's looked good, but Carolina's looked better. So I'm going with Carolina and the always underrated Cam Newton, who is another one of my quarterbacks. Monday, 5:30 p.m., we've got Chicago versus the New York Jets. Chicago looks really good. I mean, but that's what they do. They look really good or they look really bad. They actually looked very good against San Francisco, so I'm going to go with them in this game because it's the Jets, and I have not seen the Jets look really good in anything lately. So, there you have it. Those are my picks for week 3. Let me know what you think. Holla at your girl. Hit me up with your fantasy questions. I'm happy to help. I will talk to you later. Deuces.